Welcome back to another episode of the White Sox March to October, and today's the big day again. It is the year 3 draft that we'll be doing in today's episode. Always an exciting part of the season, but before we can get there, we gotta knock out this one key moment here, which is also an exciting one because it's a fast track. Fast track opportunities in the minors are just inherently exciting, but this one's exciting because of who it is. It's Yoelqui Cespedes. Obviously a guy prospect-wise that didn't pan out for the White Sox. I mean, who did pan out for the White Sox, but I guess in his case, he never even made it to the MLB roster before the Sox released him, but that happened after we created this March to October, so he's still part of the organization, and he actually already does have a little bit of MLB experience. We had him up for 33 games, and he got 145 at-bats in those 33 games, so he actually played a decent amount. He didn't play all that great, though, and he was really only here to fill some spots after a trade that we made. And if you look at where he is in his development, he's only a C potential, he's only a 68 overall, and he's already 28 years old. But when you think about what this could turn into if we succeed here, he's already got pretty solid fielding as a center fielder. And just with the way that these fast track attribute increases work, we know he's going to get a bunch to his contact. And contact is already his best hitting attribute. So he's going to get up, I think it's usually plus 10. So that's going to be a 63, 69 contact. And then everything else besides the vision and discipline, which also goes up 10, everything else is going to go up like 1 or 2. He'll turn into a B potential, probably like a 72, 73 overall, and then we'll have to go from there to see what we want to do with him from there. But I think that could be a decent foundation for at least a bench player in the major leagues. All right, so let's get to it then. Taking a trip down to the farm, we get to see Chris Flexen, apparently still part of the organization. All right, so here we go, getting things started out. We're the 2-hole hitter, which is good. We should be getting as many at-bats as possible, really. We got to overcome that starting the episode with a hitter player lock thing, and that's very unfortunate. Like, what could I have done differently there? That's what happens. We start an episode with a hitter player lock. We have no luck. All right, let's go. At bat number 2, we're down 4-2. Runner on first this time, though. And there we go. That's got to be something. I don't know if it's gone. It looks like it might be. Oh, it's way gone. A perfect off the bat of Yoelqui Cespedes. That locks up the boost. We don't have to do anything else. And hey, I made a good swing in AB number 1. We just didn't get lucky, so we took it out of luck's hands in this one. Hit it too far for anybody to make a play on. See, that's the sort of thing, though, where I wish the attribute increase you get after one of these adapts to kind of how you play. Because if I hit a home run, I want to see the power getting increased, but just knowing how it's been in the past, the power is not going to get any more increased than normal, and it's still going to be plus whatever, plus 10 to the contact. And we're drawing a walk this time. Scared to pitch to him after the bomb in the last at bat. I don't blame him. All right, 4th at bat already here in the 6th inning, and look who's on the mound to face us now, Eric Fetty. And he's going to put us on now for free for the 2nd time. All right, we get another time up, and look who's on the mound this time to face us, Mike Clevenger. What is going on here? It's like a Christmas carol. The ghosts of White Sox past. And a 3rd walk of the game. We go deep, and they don't want to mess with Cespedes after that. And we do get one, I assume, final at bat here. We get to face Clevenger one more time. And we're going to get walked for a 4th straight time after the home run. That's crazy. 6 plate appearances, but we're only going to be going 1 for 2 on the day. Also, for all the 4 times I got put on base for free, not once did the rest of my team drive me in. And we scored 12. Like, when did those 12 runs happen? All right, but that's the end of the game. A 12-4 win, but that doesn't really matter when we're down in the minors. All that matters is this. We get the plus. When it's a fast track, it's only a 1+ or nothing, so that's as good as we could have gotten. So now the only question is how much and what kind of a boost are we going to see with Cespedes after that, and is it going to be enough to to want to call him up if they give me the chance. Because just knowing our roster and where it's at right now, I doubt I'm going to want to call Cespedes up. I really don't think there's going to be a spot for him. But you never know. We'll definitely take a look. We shouldn't be losing that next game, though, with all the momentum we had. And Cespedes actually got a full +6. I feel like you don't always see that on the hitters. I feel like the pitchers are normally the +6s. The hitters, it's not always the case. But a full +6 for Cespedes, maybe it's because I played so good. Because, yeah, the fielding is going up 3. Everything else is going up 3. So maybe the better game you have, you do get more of a baseline boost, and I've just never really had a game that good, especially when it comes to hitter player locks. That would actually make a lot of sense if I feel like pitchers are always +6, because I normally always have a good outing with the pitcher. The hitters, it's normally like, okay, I went 1 for 4. Anyway, though, Cespedes is up to a B potential now, 74 overall. And just like I said, the +10 to the contact, going up to that 63 and 69. But I'm guessing then, based on the fielding, everything else went up at least 3. I know some things had gone up and down slightly before that game, so I don't know exactly where we're at. But yeah, that was good. That was really good to get Cespedes where he's at now. And I don't know. We'll see here. What do we have going on the big league team? We can't really get rid of Max Stassi because he's our backup catcher. The only other option would be Garrett Hampson, who's also a 74, but he's the super utility guy. I don't really see it making sense to get rid of him to bring up Cespedes when Hampson is like the dude who can just kind of do it all for us. And he's still been pretty good. Not quite as good as he was last year, and I also feel like he hasn't been used quite as much as he was last year. But yeah, the only other 2 options on our bench, which technically aren't even bench players, they're platoon guys because they both start against lefties, but it's Colin Houck, it's Nick Senzel. I don't really want to send down either of them because, well, Houck had his own boost that we got through player lock with him, and he's playing like this. And then Senzel, we kind of know, we've been checking in on him throughout the year. He's ridiculous because we only let him face lefties. So yeah, there's no spot for Cespedes, but that doesn't mean that was for nothing, because either, you know, down the line, he'll have the chance to maybe be like a backup outfielder type thing. This also could make him a better trade piece. I mean, there definitely could be teams looking for 74 overall outfielders, trying to maybe make a playoff push, and maybe they'd be willing to give up a prospect for him. So yeah, we are going to decline this. I don't know if this means we do have to play another game. No, they're just going to keep simming. So hopefully this takes us all the way to the draft, and it's looking like it will. All right, it's time. And I don't know, guys. I don't know if I feel the need to put on a suit. I feel like it's kind of played out after doing it a couple of times. So we might just, I don't know. I say we just don't worry about it. Let's get into it. So hopefully I actually remember some of the people I was excited by, but give me a second here. I'm going to set up our screen here, get our draft queue looking good. All right, I don't know how it happens. I feel like every time it's actually like draft time and I look through the people we've scouted, I kind of like forget the people that I actually honed in on at any given time and thought, oh, this dude might be exciting. But I think we've got a pretty solid list here. We obviously have the 30th pick, being the defending World Series champ, so I don't know if either of these top 2 that I have on my board are going to make it because they're ranked 24th and 23rd. And I wouldn't say it's automatic that I take this dude if the 2 in front of him are picked, because he's ranked 136. So even though we rank him as 27th, and it'd still be a good pick at 30, I don't know. We'll have to see what's still there on the board, but I might want to take a chance and push it and see if we can wait to get him until like our next pick. But anyway, that's about all the strategy I have going into this one. So let's just hit go to draft and let's see what happens. So let's get it started. Nationals with the #1 overall pick, and it looks like they're going to pitcher because I see that jacket. Ken Mikolas. Don't know anything about this guy. Didn't really spend too much time scouting starters because our starting pitcher core, I guess, between who we have in the big leagues and who's coming up is pretty solid already. This time it's a third baseman ranked 17th, so I wonder what Miami saw in him. And the third pick and the last pick that's going to show up like this, that's going to be another starting pitcher, another guy I didn't really know anything about. But yeah, we've got a little ways to go, I feel like, before anything concerning me happens, because I don't think my top 2 guys are going to be picked until probably in the 20s if they do get picked before getting to me. So we just gotta sit back and wait. A lot of pitchers going in the top 10, but actually, dang, this dude that just got picked 10th, look at what my scouts say about him. 70% of the way scouted. Consensus rank 45, so picking him 10 even based on that, is terrible. But our scouts say he's a 150th ranked talent. So hopefully our division rival just missed big time there. A lot of starting pitching being taken. Oh, and that's my guy. That was our top guy. So that's actually, I think, where our scouts had him ranked. Yeah, it was 13th. So the Mets knew exactly what we knew and took him at probably what his true ranking should be. So that's going to be one to keep in mind down the line when we actually get to see the results of this draft. Although I guess there's nothing I could have done about it. It's just knowing that's the guy that I handpicked as being our first pick if he made it there. Still don't know if I'm 100% set on taking this Johnny Flores either, just because we don't have him fully scouted, but all of his fielding stuff, that looks like it could be really good with solid enough hitting. So, you know, the White Sox, we can never get too much fielding. I feel like everybody comes to the Sox and becomes a worse fielder. So the better starting fielding they can have, the better. All right, we are now coming up on the pick that Flores is projected to go. I think his rank is 23rd. We have him ranked 25. And yep, he gets taken at 23rd. So we miss out on both of our top two guys. So now I got to figure out what I want to do, because I kind of hate to take a relief pitcher with the first pick, but this Darius Acquieja here, I mean, a lefty who looks like he's going to be throwing gas. The potential isn't too high, but the starting overall is pretty solid for being 19. It's always good to have a lefty arm. His hits per nine looks like it's going to be good to start. And that's pretty much what you look for. The other relievers, though, are also kind of interesting. This dude that we were looking at is ranked 44 for us, but this dude's ranked 42nd, so our scouts think this guy is even better. His hits per nine looks even better. Doesn't quite throw gas the same as Acquieja does. He's also not a lefty. But then this dude is a lefty. He does throw gas. Doesn't throw a straight fastball, though. Still an interesting pitch mix. He's not ranked quite as high as the other two, and he probably won't have as good of a starting overall. Oh, and I'm on the board. I was talking about the potential guys too often to realize that I'm actually up right now. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, this dude's also intriguing. A catcher, 18 years old, really solid contact, vision, and discipline numbers, it looks like, to start off. But we do already have Connie Kang, who was our first pick in our first draft as a catcher. And we have Edgar Caro coming up through the system too, so I feel like adding another catcher isn't maybe that great. If this dude's potential was maybe a little bit higher, instead of topping out at 87, I might take a chance on him. But I don't know, man. I wanted an outfielder. I just don't know if Johnny Elez is what I'm looking for. I guess his potential's still solid, being a 75 at worst. It's just like his attributes don't really do a ton for me. And we have him scouted 100%, so like this should be accurate. I don't know if our scouts have, I still don't know what to trust. I've said this for a couple years now, is like, I feel like these attributes and the present and future stuff does not really translate to what looks like a 27th ranked guy with a potential of 75 to 90. But I feel like I've kind of learned you trust what it says the potential and overall is more than what the actual attributes say. The only thing is, do I feel like he can slip another 30 picks to our next pick, and then I can take Darius Acquieja instead and get what should be a solid lefty arm? You know what? No, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna take Johnny Elez here. This might be a massive reach, or it might be a good pick. I don't like the idea of taking a relief pitcher in the first round. I feel like there's just not enough upside there, so we're going for it. Johnny Elez is the first round pick for us in year 3. Potentially a massive reach, but I'm trusting our scouts. I'm also trusting that his doctor exam, even though he opted out. I hope he's not hurt. And actually, I guess I forgot about the competitive balance round, so it wouldn't have been him slipping another 30 picks. It would have been him slipping another 36 picks, which I definitely don't think our relief pitcher here. Well, I guess he could, because he is ranked 90th, even though we have him at 44. So somewhere in between, that's right around 60-ish, 66, which is where our next pick is. All right, it's our pick. Our lefty reliever is still here, Darius Acquieja, and I think that's who I'm going to go with. The only thing is the catcher I was talking about is still here also, but I think between the two, if I want to make sure I get one and the other one isn't stolen in the 2 picks in between our next pick, I want to make sure we get the lefty arm. So I'm going to take Darius, and if Chris Cano is still there by our next pick, I think that's who I'm going to go with. So let's go ahead, let's lock this one in. I'm excited about this one. I'm excited to see what he starts at, because he could be a guy. I mean, it would all depend on what the CPU lets me do, but he could be a guy who's in our bullpen next season. So let's just see here. We've got one pick before our next one to see if Chris Cano gets taken. And is he going to get picked? No, he's not, so I can take him. I feel like I'm going to take one last look, though, around just to make sure there's nobody else I'd want. Nope, I feel pretty good about this. I'm actually pretty excited about this to see what he turns into. Maybe he overlaps Connie Kang. Maybe he overlaps Edgar Caro. But a high contact catcher, it is kind of a large potential and overall window, so you don't know. We don't have him fully scouted. He could be a miss, but we're going to take a chance on him. I feel like he's probably the best available with the highest upside if he does hit that upside, so we'll see about it. Now we got a while before the next pick. All right, next pick. We only got a minute on the clock, man. I thought it dropped down to 2 minutes, and this is tough. I was hoping one of these two guys was going to get taken because I don't know who to take between the two. We can just go another lefty reliever. Might not be quite as good right away, but still has a good pitch mix, still looks pretty solid, throws gas. Or we can take Michael McCormick, who nothing about him looks super special, except for he has the chance at having a pretty high potential. I think I'm going to take more of the sure thing. I think I'm going to go Diego Alvarez because I also feel like McCormick might have a better chance of slipping all the way to our next pick. So that's what we're going to go with. We're drafting another lefty bullpen arm. And all right, I was right about McCormick slipping to our next pick. So he's going to be the pick here at pick 134. By our scouts projections, this is an outstanding pick because he's ranked 67th. There's really nothing exciting about him, though, looking at his card, looking at his attributes, except for what that potential could be. I mean, it's still a pretty large window, and he could hit at the bottom of it, but imagine if he hits at the top of it. Imagine if he's a 90-plus potential guy. Even if that starting overall is kind of low, he's 18 years old. He's got time to get there. So that's who we're going with here. And we'll have to see what he ends up being. But I don't know. At this point in the draft, kind of by design, kind of what I was thinking of when I was thinking of my scouting strategy. But we really don't have many more position players scouted enough to like really feel good about what we're taking there. Aside from this catcher, if Rob Pineda is still there by our next pick, I'm going to take him just because he's also kind of a high contact looking guy. But for our last two picks, it's most likely just going to be a couple more bullpen arms, which again, by design, by my strategy, I feel like taking bullpen guys is kind of the throw-in guys at the end of the draft. Kind of what you want to do. Maybe I'm wrong. All right, once again, it's our pick, and I think this is who I'm going to go with. A bullpen arm, another lefty. We only have him 50% scouted, but he goes from unranked to ranked 93rd by our scouts with that 50%, and he is by far the best ranked guy by our scouts left on the board. So I think we go ahead, we take a chance on him. Really no solid idea what he could be based on the potential and overall windows, so this definitely could be a hit or miss situation. All right, and then our last pick, the last pick of the draft, Mr. Irrelevant. We're trusting our scouts again. We're just taking the highest ranked, the best ranked card, or not card. This isn't Diamond Dynasty. The best ranked player left in the draft is Jay Watson, another lefty reliever. We should have to never add a new lefty reliever again after this draft. But honestly, for the last pick of the draft, looks pretty solid. Decent enough potential. I mean, if he ends up in the mid 70s, that's perfectly okay for a relief pitcher. So we're drafting him, and that's our draft. That's our third draft in the books. It'll be interesting now that we've done three. I mean, we'll have to wait to see what the results are and what everybody's potential and ratings are. But we might be able to start putting together a little bit of a leaderboard and rank the quality of my drafts. I feel like my second draft was really good, so it's going to be tough to top that one. All right, but I think that's all we got to do here. We just exit the draft, and we're right back to simming games. And there's the first half over with. Only a 4.5 star rating somehow by being 68 and 29. I mean, I don't know. I feel like that should be a full 5 stars, but whatever. Guess that doesn't really matter, but we continue on. And it looks like we're going to be playing the very first game out of the All-Star break, the Yankees, but of course, that one's gonna wait till the next episode. The draft episode is pretty much always just about the draft. Actually, before I forget though, there is one thing I just kind of happened to see earlier that I wanted to point out. look at Ezekiel Duran. Look at what happened to him. He goes up to an A potential. So this makes that trade that we made for him all the way back, I think it was our second trade we ever made. This makes that trade even better. He's only 26, somehow is up to an 89. I don't know when that jump happened. I feel like he was always hovering around like an 85. Now all of a sudden he's an 89 and on the cusp of being even higher because he's an A potential. But yeah, just insane progression. He's turned into like a really solid fielder wherever he's going to play. He's got good speed, and I don't know what the potential actually is. It could just be a 90, but even so, that's way better than I thought we were going to get out of him when we traded for him. So I guess that just kind of makes our infield even more crowded. I mean, we have Vlad under contract forever. We've got Montgomery, and now we've got Duran, who's we're probably going to want to have sticking around as our middle infield. So where's going to be the room for Colin Houck, Termarr Johnson, Brian Ramos even? I don't know. I guess all of that will be getting figured out as we move on through this March to October. So all we can do is move on. So as always, guys, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. But thanks again for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I will see you next time.